You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
As is, by a remote chance, any unintended consequence of the project, then we alter what we do moving forward.
He basically saying, bend over, get out of my way, let us get through and do our project.
Save our sand. The battle continues to get sand from Siesta Key to Lido Beach. Has there been any progress? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on Save Our Sand in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. Where can we go to avoid red tide? Dead fish are now starting to wash up on beaches in Manatee County. These are the same problems crews in Sarasota County have been dealing with. Dead fish, a foul odor, a dark, murky water, a strong odor coming from the Gulf, thousands of dead fish floating along the shoreline, and brown, murky water keeping families away from Manatee's most popular beaches.
So definitely went from a couple fish to a massive amount of fish. It was overpowering. It almost got me back in the car.
The red tide bloom is affecting beaches on Anna Maria Island. Today, the city of Holmes Beach announcing it will be placing dumpsters at beach access points to keep the smell at bay. They'll be on 30th, 33rd, 36th, 46th, 67th, and 71st Streets. The dumpsters will be for dead fish only. They suggest you don't throw out any red tide waste into regular garbage cans, which are not emptied as often. Also, volunteers are needed to help clean up the beach. You can find out how to help. Go to our website and look for the story at mysuncoast.com. As of today, Moat says there are 137 sea turtles that have been rescued or recovered this year in Sarasota and Manatee counties. That's 37 more than all of last year. Researchers couldn't put an exact number on how many of the deaths were a proven result of red tide, but they did say most of the 137 were dead rather than rescued. 10 still remain at Moat's Sea Turtle Rehabilitation Hospital.
We don't know statewide if it's been this bad. It's hard to say that ourselves. But we can say it's a pretty significant bloom for us in terms of the number of sea turtles that have been coming in.
Typically, nonprofit organizations like Save Our Seabirds says it will also receive birds dead or dazed from red tide. Fortunately, they have not received any reports yet. ABC7 has been out in front of the season's red tide crisis, covering the story from every angle. Log on to mysuncoast.com to access our catalog of coverage, including answers to your most frequently asked questions. An update now on the Manatee County double murder. The accused killer is back on the Suncoast. Joe Claire Juice was arrested in Denver days after the crime. The 17-year-old is accused of shooting and killing 18-year-old Caleb Bowman and 18-year-old Kamundry Pittman last month. Detectives believe the suspect knew the victims and the dispute was over likely drugs. At least one of the shootings took place behind a shopping center along Cortez Road West in Bradenton. A newly released transcript shows school shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz spat out "kill me" and then cursed as he sat alone in the sheriff's interrogation room just hours after the massacre that left 17 people dead. Detectives had just left Cruz alone to get him some water when the 19-year-old suspect made that explanation. Prosecutors released a redacted transcript of Cruz's post-shooting statement this afternoon after a judge ruled last month non-confession portions could be made public. 250,000 Floridians have already voted in the 2018 primary election, more than 3 weeks ahead of Election Day. As of Monday morning, numbers from the State Division of Elections showed more than 120,000 Republicans across the state had already voted by mail. Nearly 100,000 Democrats and 40,000 unaffiliated Floridians also voted. Beyond absentee ballots, early voting begins next Monday in several Florida counties and next weekend across the state.
There is definitely, without a doubt, more excitement about this election, I think, especially among our youth. There's been a lot of things this past year that's going to draw our voters out.
To date, the highest number of vote-by-mail ballots have been returned by voters in Hillsborough, Lee, and Pinellas counties. We spoke to Superintendent Todd Bowden last week here on ABC 7 at 7. Today, Bowden is asking the school board what the next final decisions are in this contract. Bowden says he has written to the school board asking to delay any discussions about this contract until after the start of the school year and after the board elections. Bowden says the primary focus for now should be on students and teachers. A few weeks ago, the school board approved eliminating a clause in Bowden's contract that allowed it to fire him without any cause. They also approved extending his contract from 2020 to 2022, but ultimately the board had decided to delay the vote until tomorrow's meeting. No word yet on if the board will go forward with the vote. Now let's welcome back ABC7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan, who is back from vacation and has the first word forecast. Bob.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Ellen, and showers and storms are back too this afternoon. Not many though. The sea breeze never having a chance to penetrate too far inland. So we had a pretty good east wind all day long. That really warmed things up too. Whenever we're having an east wind and the air really heats up over central Florida, carries off to the west coast. Our high today was 94 degrees. You can see the west coast sea breeze never really made it too far inland, so the storms that blew up were into parts of Manatee County this afternoon, and you can see that now winding down north end of Anna Maria Island, moving off toward the northwest, and behind it we have a pretty good east wind, which will continue to take at least the harmful impacts of that red tide offshore temporarily. Now a little sea breeze will develop again tomorrow afternoon, but it will be pinned pretty close to the coastline due to that easterly flow we are anticipating. Some lightning strikes occurring with this cell because of that sea breeze kind of getting hung up right here across parts of I-75. That's where the storms were earlier. They have now progressed off into the Gulf, and they will continue to wind down here. 1 or 2 lone showers still out there, but the flood warnings are still up for the Peace River in Hardee and DeSoto counties, as well as the Myakka River at the Myakka State Park. That flood warning will continue tomorrow, more than likely going below flood stage by Wednesday or into early Thursday morning there, depending upon the amount of rain we get for us tomorrow and Wednesday. Well, as far as the current conditions go, it's cool now at the airport, 79 degrees after a high, as I said earlier, at 94, 1 degree shy of a record high of 95 degrees. And currently the heat index not a big factor. The humidity has gone up to 90% because of the rain around. Winds are out of the north at 6 miles an hour. We've been talking a lot about red tide. Well, we'll have red tide updates on our weather app as well. So you want to download that, and we'll bring you the latest from the FWC and Moat Marine when that information becomes available. Again, just go to your app store, go to mysuncoast.com, either one, and you can download the ABC7 official First Alert weather app. Alan?
Bob, thank you. It has been 5 years since the city of Sarasota first announced plans to restore Lido Key's shoreline with sand from Big Pass. But due to challenges from residents on Siesta Key, it could be another year before the project finally starts. Here's Adam Cellini with more. Adam.
Yeah, Alan, a judge recently approved the city's permit to start dredging Big Pass, and we thought that was it, but it appears residents are gearing up for another legal battle.
It's been called a sand war between Siesta Key and Lido Key, but the fight over dredging Big Pass is really between the city of Sarasota.
At some point you have to trust somebody, but this handful of people only trust themselves.
And a group of Siesta Key residents.
Tom Barwin is playing with their real estate, with their lives, with the rip currents and everything else going on Lido.
The so-called war lasting 18 months in court. Michael Holderness and the group Save Our Siesta Sands 2 helping challenge the Florida Department of Environmental Protection permit for the city to take 1.3 million cubic yards of sand from Big Pass and an ebb shoal on the north end of Siesta Key.
That's number one cut. That quartz crystal sand, the sandbar, the protection for Siesta Key, they want to propose to take it to Lido.
Holderness, who owns a property management company with 200 rentals on the Key, worries removing this sand for the first time could upset the balance.
Catastrophic damage to Siesta Key, everything south, our Sarasota Bay estuaries, our nurseries, destroyed.
But despite specific environmental concerns and scientific witnesses, a judge found Siesta Key residents did not have enough evidence to support their challenge, instead ruling in favor of the Army Corps of Engineer computer models that show no negative impacts.
Well, it's a hot potato. You're not going to have an administrative law judge says Army Corps of Engineers is wrong, they falsified the data, DEP didn't verify it. They're not going to say that.
The groups have begged the city to explore other sand resources inland and offshore, but Barwin says those are even less responsible.
You know, what we're really proposing here is probably the smartest environmental thing that can be done, and it's recycling. And it's not sending boats and trucks miles and miles away at double and triple the cost or more, quadruple the cost.
And cost plays a big role. The proposal to dredge Big Pass and add 2 sand-retaining groins near Lido will cost around $22 million, but only 19% will come from the city following the approval of state and federal funding for that Army Corps of Engineers plan.
The taxpayers are paying for this no matter how you analyze it.
Holderness also believes county leaders violated their comprehensive plan by not getting involved in the process. But the judge shot that down too. Now residents are crowdfunding for the fees to pay for even more legal action. Barwin has pleaded publicly for those groups to instead collaborate with the city, but he really means after those first cuts are made.
If there is, by a remote chance, any unintended consequence of the project, then we alter what we do moving forward.
He basically saying, bend over, get out of my way, let us get through and do our project.
All the while, Lido Key sits heavily eroded from years of storm damage and exposed for more in the coming months. The city does have an emergency restoration plan that will include sand from New Pass and is filling large industrial sandbags to protect the residents until then.
We have a crisis that we're facing on Lido. It'll be a minor miracle if we don't suffer some pretty significant damage this summer.
Holderness and company are sympathetic, but not enough to give up the fight for their own sand source.
And the appeal of that DEP permit wasn't a total loss. It did lower the amount of total sand allowed to be dredged from Big Pass, and restricts dredging in certain spots during spotted sea trout spawning season.
Adam, thank you. Both sides wash up right to the trapezoid. Next.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now,
800-604-0398.
or visit SoClean.com today.
Welcome back. There is nothing more important to our lifestyle and our local economy than the health of our beaches, which is why the continuing battle over dredging at Big Pass to re-nourish Lido Beach continues to pit parts of our little piece of paradise against each other. There is continuing legal action and there is continuing concern whether the planned dredging could damage Siesta Key Beach, one of the biggest sources of revenue in our area. And joining us will be Michael Hardeness, a local business owner, and Alexandria Davis Shaw, Sarasota's city engineer. And our conversation will begin right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. And a line of storms has made its way through most of the Suncoast right now. You can see from our perspective here at 628, we had that line moving through. You see showers and storms developing. The sea breeze never made it too far inland, so when it did get close to it out in the Gulf of Mexico, the storms kind of exploded, especially up near Manatee County. You can see that rainfall off of Longboat Key, and then the latest image that you see there, the sun starting to come on out. Still some rain around, but most of it is offshore now, and most of it is done across the peninsula. As you can see, the activity is kind of rotating around this area of high pressure, which is bringing us that easterly wind flow, which is also heating us up today. Highs were near record-breaking highs, but most of the storms now offshore of Anna Maria Island, continuing to head off toward the northwest, really started to generate some lightning there in northwest Bradenton and also near Ellington, as well as in the Palmetto. But as I said, most of it's over now. One or two lone showers trying to pop up here and there. We'll keep the rain chance less than 20% for the remainder of the evening across our region, with looks like skies clearing as well. By midnight, we should see partly cloudy to mostly fair skies. There's one or two lone showers western portions of DeSoto County right now. Flood warnings are still out across parts of the Peace River from Hardy County down into DeSoto County, and also along the Myakka River at the Myakka State Park. Dry air in place now across the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. See this low spinning right here? This is in the upper level. This is a tropical upper tropospheric trough, which is heading off to the west. No signs of it developing. We don't expect any development from it. It may enhance some storms, but you'll notice that dry air is still out ahead of it, so we're not anticipating a lot of rainfall over the next 24 hours. We will see a few spotty showers again tomorrow afternoon. But for this evening's planner, look for temperatures to be right around 80 degrees, and we'll have partly cloudy skies by 11 o'clock. The Futurecast showing that chance for showers again developing tomorrow as it progresses off to the west-northwest. Not in the morning, but in the afternoon, a few isolated showers. Things start to transition a little bit on Wednesday. We'll start to see more of a westerly flow. Unfortunately, if the red tide is still around, we think it will be, it'll bring some of the harmful impacts back toward the area beaches, and that'll be a concern. But the main focus of storms on Wednesday and Thursday will be inland due to that westerly flow. We won't see much coastal action, although we will see a few isolated showers in the morning. So we're going to change that timing up again. With that west to southwest wind flow on Wednesday and Thursday, it's a more coastal showers in the morning, and then late in the day there'll be inland areas. It has cooled down. One of the benefits of these showers, it does cool us down temporarily anyway, and the Gulf water temperature now at 87 degrees. Current conditions at the airport, it's 79. It's cooled down to 77 just an hour ago. It'll be warming back up actually as we move through the evening. North winds are at 6 and the pressure 30.03 inches. High today, there it is, 94, 1 degree shy of tying the record of 95 set back in 1996. The national satellite imagery showing yet another frontal system, which is going to make its way all the way down into the southeast. That's unusual. During the summer months, they never usually get this down this far south. There's a trough of low pressure in the jet stream over the eastern third of the nation, and that is going to allow for the at least cooler air to make it down into Georgia. Not here, unfortunately. And out west, unfortunately for them, high pressure continues to dominate the weather out there. And that's not good news for battling those fires. And also a high heat advisory is in effect for much of Arizona, including Las Vegas, all the way down to Los Angeles tomorrow. Severe thunderstorm right there across portions of northern Indiana. I mentioned the severe thunderstorms possible across parts of Denver tonight, and then the excessive heat warning out west. That continues as a result of that large dome of high pressure. Well, here's the forecast for boaters. Tomorrow looks to be pretty good. East winds at 10 knots. We'll start the day off, and then it'll switch around to the west in the afternoon at 5 knots. So it'll actually lessen somewhat, and a light chop on the bays and inland water. So a slight chance for showers late day on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we start to transition. Looks like we may see a few coastal showers in the morning, and then inland storms mainly on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with a few coastal showers during the morning hours. Highs pretty close where they're supposed to be, 90 degrees. Al will be right back after this.
For a lot of kids, summer is the best time of year. But for some kids, summer is the hungriest time of year. So many kids rely on school for regular meals, and in the summer when school's out, those meals disappear. But I've got some great news for you. Kids can get free healthy meals at thousands of places across America. To find a summer meal site near you, just text the word food to 877-877. Have a great summer, America.
Investigate TV tackles the tough topics.
What happened to my life was awful.
When your health is compromised, we investigate.
They are really drug dealers in white coats.
Corporate greed exposed.
How do you trust them to run this program?
The powerful held accountable with in-depth journalism led by award-winning journalist Lee Zurich. We're your watchdog. Search Investigate TV on your Roku device. Download it now.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework.
He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
It's rainy season on the Suncoast. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When there's the potential for severe weather, you need to know fast. Trust ABC7 First Alert Weather to get you the information you need right away. We focus on the storms that impact where you live, and we're committed to alerting you with important information as soon as we get it. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Welcome back. We are talking about the ongoing battle over dredging Big Pass to renourish Lido Beach. And joining us for more are Michael Holderness, a local business owner, and Alex Davis Shaw, Sarasota's city engineer. I want to welcome you both. And also, we'll say up in front, since there is litigation involved here, we got to stay away from that, because both parties are limited in what they could talk about. But let's just talk about the greater issue in terms of, Michael, you're worrying about your livelihood and the livelihood of other business owners around here, but obviously we have a crisis in terms of another beach, which is really suffering the great effects of the weather over the last couple of years. So the question, Alex, is how do you balance both issues?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing, and this has been going on for 20 years now, looking at options to renourish Lido Beach, looking at sand sources. We spent several years, the Army Corps spent several years looking for other sand sources, modeling what would happen if you took some sand from Big Pass. The City Commission is strongly supportive of siesta and navigation. They wanted to make sure that whatever is designed and goes forward will continue to allow for navigation, will not harm siesta, and will provide protection for Lido. And so even after the Army Corps did their study, we had it peer reviewed. We actually started the evaluation based on the study that Sarasota County put together, and that study was peer reviewed. So there's been a lot of review and evaluation done before we got to this point.
Michael, I see you shaking your head there. Is your objection to the scientific results of the Army Corps of Engineers, or the decision here, because we saw Tom Barwin in the story say it's really not cost effective to import the sand from other locations?
It's about cost, and the first time I've actually heard the city admit to navigation, okay? So when you look at what's going on here, Tom Barwin, I think he's probably regretting what he said about what's good for the environment now, and that's what these big developers do. Everything's good for the environment. So he's a master of distraction. He pitted neighbor against neighbor, commission board against commission board, when it's never been about the sand. That's the problem.
Well, help explain that, because obviously you have a beach here that is in critical need of being renourished. Is the issue of where the city is getting the sand from?
Well, that's the key, very good question, because there's 2 permits. They don't have a permit for Big Pass, and the FDE permit is still, they don't have the FDEP for a new pass. They still are waiting on the notice to proceed because they haven't finished an inlet management plan. So when you take out Ebshalls on say the southern Ebshall of New Pass, that has a big causes big problems for North Lido, right? And they don't take them right out. So that's one. But when you look at where the amount of sand that's needed, it's completely falsified.
All right, let me give Alex a chance to respond.
So we do have a permit for Big Pass.
No, you don't. You don't have the FDE approval for that and the notice to proceed.
You don't have the notice proceed. They don't give you the notice proceed until you're done.
What
with
about
your
New Pass?
Drawings.
What about New Pass? New Pass is where the emergency
projects.
sand should come from, and it's being blocked and obstructed. The permit's been sitting on Tom Barwin's desk for 3 months now, incomplete.
There's 2 projects and 2 permits. There's the permit we share with Longboat for New Pass. We have that permit. Before,
you don't have the notice to proceed in your inlet management plan that was required.
Before the Department of Environmental...
Hold on just 1 second. We've got to pay the bills. Obviously, we are just getting warmed up. Our conversation over the battle of dredging of Big Pass to renourish Lido Beach will continue right after a quick break.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Being empowered starts with getting informed, looking closer. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. But many of us don't know there are different types of breast cancer with different characteristics. That was me. Learning about the specifics of my diagnosis gave me the confidence to make informed treatment decisions with my doctor. This meant everything to me and my family. So take another look. Ask another question. Learn more at notonetype.org.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
A home can be much more than just a house. But for some of our neighbors, home means uncertainty and isolation. At Rebuilding Together, we turn houses into homes and revitalize our communities. Because a neighborhood is more than just houses and streets. It's familiar faces and open arms. Join the movement to ensure everyone can live in a safe home and community. Become a rebuilder today.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. We are talking about the ongoing battle over dredging Big Pass to renourish Lido Beach. And joining us for more are Michael Holiness, a local business owner, and Alex Davis Shaw, the City of Sarasota engineer. I welcome you back, both of you. And obviously, this is a really emotional topic because people's livelihoods are on the line, and we love these beaches, and it's so important to our community. So the question that I guess Michael is putting up is, what is the real goal here? Is it to save the beach that is being endangered, or is, I guess Michael is saying that there are other things going on here in terms of a navigation channel?
So when in 1996, after Tropical Storm Josephine, when Lido Key was so devastated, the City Commission determined that they had to come up with a long-range comprehensive plan to protect the beach. That's where we are today. We went to the County Commission when they were reviewing their inlet management plan. And part of that plan was trying to figure out how to maintain navigation and what to do with the sand. When they looked at dredging the two inlets, Big Pass and New Pass, the city took that information and used that to work with the Army Corps to develop our plan. We committed to Sarasota County that as we did our project, we would make sure that we wouldn't change the morphology such that it would impact navigation and be detrimental to that, because Sarasota County and the boaters were very concerned that if we moved sand around, it would fill in the natural channel and they would have boating difficulties.
Michael, what would you like to see in terms of, obviously, you know, Lido Beach needs to be saved and there needs to be renourishment. What do you think the right answer is?
When I got involved in this, and I know the importance of Big Pass, it's one of 28 national estuaries that they look at to model in this country. That's how important this Big Pass is. With all the dead fish that we saw, we got 30,000 tons off our beaches. It's, you know, we're Sarasota, whether we're on this side of the cut or not. And we got 30,000 pounds of dead fish and mammals and everything else off our beach. More important than ever that these fish have a home to come home to, so they can make more fish, all right? Without it, they're not going to procreate in the Gulf. So what I'd like to see, when I got involved back 2 or 3 years ago, I looked at, let's find other sources, other viable sources.
Which would be what?
Which would be Big Pass, trucking it in. They could go offshore and get it. All that sand could have already happened.
But so, some of those other choices there, trucking it in or going farther offshore, wouldn't that be cost just too expensive?
That's a lie by Tom Barwin, if I can be honest.
And it's not a
it's
lie.
It's $3.5 million to dredge New Pass. New Pass brings them back to their historical beach level.
Dredging New Pass does not get us to the
It's
historical beach level.
284,000 cubic yards. Yes, it does.
It's 185,000 cubic yards that we'll be putting on the project at this time, because that's how much sand is in
No.
there.
You want to build the beach up out another, what, 200 yards, and you need 900,000 cubic yards?
You're talking about the New Pass project or the Big Pass project?
The whole project.
So
because you're trying to run it all under one and slide all the funds over to Big Pass.
There's two different permits and there's two different funding sources.
How come you're not getting the FDE permit completed for New Pass so Lido residents can have sand?
A reminder, a lot of people don't understand the acronyms and the technical jargon, but here, let me ask the question this way. What is your greatest concern about the current plan in terms of the dredging, in terms of what it could do to Siesta Beach? And then we'll give Alex a chance to respond.
My number one concern is the ecosystem, right? Big Pass is very, very important to Sarasota Bay. With all the development that the city's doing, it would turn into a cesspool without that filtration of Big Pass, right? So that's number one. When they took out their southern ebbshaw of New Pass, it eroded Lido at an alarming rate. So now they want to take out the entire ebbshaw, which is cut B. They want to do that first, and give that to Lido.
All right, and now, Alex, how do you address that?
So part of the study evaluated the flushing of the bay to verify that with these cuts, it would still flush and we would still have that movement. It also evaluated the fact that—
What study? You don't have an environmental impact study.
The Army Corps did a study. They did an evaluation. They provided that to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, who determined that it was sufficient and they had enough information.
Did Sarasota County determine that an environmental impact study was efficient?
Let Alex finish her thought here.
They also looked at endangered and threatened sea life. They also looked at
Federal
turtle
water, not
nesting
state
and
water.
bird habitat. And one of the critical things is right now we have no turtle or bird habitat, and so putting the sand
That's
back on
Tom
the
Barwin's
beach
fault, because you
will
could have already had
provide
sand
more
last
sand.
year.
We could not have already had more
Why?
sand because
Because
first
he didn't finish
we're
his
still,
permit?
No, we have
He
the
didn't
permit.
file for funds since Hurricane Hermine?
We
Is that why?
filed for funds for Hermine. We have a
When?
commitment.
3 weeks ago?
We filed for funds
3
for
weeks ago.
Irma right after the storm, and we're still waiting for Irma. And part of the reason why.
Do you have an inlet management plan?
Mike, let me interject here, because in Adam's story here, you know, Tom said that if there is any negative environmental impact, the plan will stop and it will change. So the question is, if the city is committed to reversing, if there are any negative outcomes here, why not? Let's see where this goes.
You can't unbreak a plate, okay? They have $2.5 million in a mitigation account that won't even get them out the door. So let me ask you one question. If Sarasota County is asking for an environmental impact study, especially after all this death and destruction of our fishes, why are they refusing? One. Number two, why are they refusing to get an impact? They need a place to procreate, okay? They're all dead. We need to have
a place to procreate.
Now, when you dig it out, a 2-mile long, 500-foot wide, 16 feet navigational channel, they don't have a place to, that's our grass flats. You lose 20% of your sand, it covers the grasses, and
they
they're
determined
dead.
that there's plenty of seagrasses.
So why are
in the
you
area.
against an impact inlet management plan?
They determined that.
Why are you against an inlet management plan?
The Army Corps
Why are you against an inlet management plan?
Folks,
NEPA,
we're
National Environmental.
going to have to wrap up the discussion, so I guess.
Ask her why they're against an environmental impact study.
Alex, what is the one essential fact you want people to walk away from this conversation tonight with?
I think that they need to be aware that we have evaluated offshore sand sources. We've also looked at the price for trucking. There are no offshore sand sources. We looked at that. The sand that's offshore.
So if there is an offshore sand, no, they don't like the color. They don't like the color.
There's not one that has a sufficient quantity.
They already do a joint plan through New Pass trucking it in.
And there aren't any locations that are
You don't like the color of sand.
Michael, we can't afford to go to Miami, and we can't afford to go to the Bahamas.
I know, you can't afford it, but you can afford to build $2 billion worth of real estate and pollute our waters like
it's better if we don't continue to
today.
grow the shoal, because as the shoal gets bigger, it's pushing the natural channel up against North Siesta.
No.
And
the natural channel is healing. It's healing from when you guys developed Bird Key.
Reduce that and take the impact out of that.
They don't care enough to get an environmental
impact study. We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts when we return. Stay with us.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
According to a new survey by U.S. News and World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality. We just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Obviously, this is an emotional issue on both sides. But Alex, again, what is the essential point that you want people to know about the city's plan in terms of the dredging?
So one thing I want everybody to understand is the city manager and the city commission has worked very hard to try to get sand on Lido Beach as quickly as possible. We do have a permit for New Pass, which we share with Longboat. The Department of Environmental Protection does not issue a notice to proceed, which allows you to begin construction until after you finalize the construction drawings and the specifications. You provide that to them, they evaluate that, and then they give you the notice to proceed. We have completed our drawings and our specifications, and we provided that to them last week, and we're expecting their review and to give us the okay very shortly.
And what's at stake here?
Turtle nesting habitat, bird nesting habitat, our infrastructure, people's homes, and their livelihood on Lido Key.
And Michael, what do you think is at stake here?
I want the Lido residents to get their emergency sand as quick as possible. Who's stalling that up is the city of Sarasota and Tom Barwin. He's saying he's a master of distraction. Look over here at Big Pass so you don't see the sand over here. That's number one. Number two, we would like an environmental impact study, which isn't too much to ask for. Siesta Key has never held up their sand. We have just asked for them to do a good cause. They ignore Sarasota County Commission when they ask for an environmental impact study. That's scary. These residents could have already had sand, and they haven't. And it's their own city that's holding it up, spending all this money on litigation instead of getting them sand. Okay, and it's our fishes that we need to really protect.
We have to leave this right here, and obviously this is something that's going to be going on for a considerable amount of time. I want to thank you for both for being here tonight. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers had to say about Friday's show. On the week in Washington, President Trump was in Tampa to show his support for Ron DeSantis' run for governor. The president continued his attacks on the media. His supporters were seen verbally attacking Jim Acosta of CNN at the rally, and we went to Facebook for your thoughts. Diana says, eventually he'll get a few reporters hurt or killed, and we'll get to pretend it's not something he encourages. To which Robin says, we, the people, should be able to trust the Fourth Estate to deliver unbiased, honest reporting. Too many news reports are filled with blatant errors and hyperbolic rhetoric. Blatant errors and hyperbolic rhetoric? Robin, you talking about the press or the president? If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Michael Holderness, a local business owner, and Alex Davis Shaw, City of Sarasota's engineer, for joining us tonight. When we return, what is President Trump now saying about the meeting between his son and the Russians? But right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. And a dramatic shot here. I wanted to show you the tower cam again in review of what was going on. This was at 6:30, right around there. And you can see that line of showers moving offshore with some periodic showers moving over Longboat Key and then off into the Gulf of Mexico. Looks like we could see a pretty nice sunset tonight, despite the clouds that are still out there in the Gulf. As far as the rainfall goes, it's over. We had some showers and storms around. Not everyone had the rain, and it really started to pop as it got close to I-75 this afternoon in Manatee County, near State Road 64 as well as State Road 70 up to Ellington and then through Palmetto and Northwest Bradenton, Anna Maria Island. That is now moved on. We had a little bit of rain down in Northport earlier, one lone shower there right now. And Venice had a little bit of rainfall earlier as well. But the sea breeze really just got pinned right near the coast. And so the east coast breeze making it all the way over, causing a little bit more activity west of I-75 tonight. And those flood warnings remain in effect probably for one more day, maybe through Wednesday for the Peace River near actually Hardy and DeSoto counties, and then also the Myakka River near the Myakka State Park. You can see that dry air. This is the scale here. Moisture content is really limited now across much of the state. And that's the result of that easterly flow around that ridge of high pressure off the Carolina coast. This is an upper level low spinning just over the southern portion of the Bahamas now. Not a lot of activity associated with it, so we don't expect it to change things too much other than keep us in that dry air for a little while through Tuesday, and also maybe enhance some storms down to our south. Now, the wind is going to be an important player when it comes to red tide and the effects, the harmful effects and impacts of that red tide. We'll see it out of the east-northeast throughout much of the day tomorrow with a little sea breeze developing in the afternoon. So throughout most of the day for beachgoers, that wind is going to be pushing offshore. And that means at least some of the harmful effects of that red tide will be pushing away from the coastline there, which is somewhat good news. But unfortunately, the red tide has moved up to the Manatee County, and we're going to see a west to southwesterly wind really return on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, which brings everything back toward the coast. It also gives us a chance for a few morning showers. Look for a few spotty showers tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then, as you'll see on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, we start to see some coastal action with the land breeze developing in the early morning hours, and even some of that working its way onshore and then pushing off into central portions of the state later in the afternoon. So the main focus of storms by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be inland areas with a few coastal showers possible in the morning. Temperatures have cooled as a result of the rainfall. 79 now in Sarasota. It's 87 degrees now in Arcadia. Temperatures actually bouncing back up after a little bit of a cool down because of that rain. And the heat index, not a big concern right now because of the fact that we had that east wind all day, which kept our humidity fairly low. It's higher now because of the rainfall that has moved in at the airport, but it's 79 degrees there. North winds are at 6 miles an hour. Well, here's a look at the high. It was 94. The 75 low was right where it's supposed to be, but boy, it was above average as far as that high temperature goes. And across the rest of the U.S., there's another cold front, an unusual one that will make it all the way down into the southeast United States come Wednesday and Thursday. And that will bump that high pressure ridge down to our south, which will give us that westerly component to our wind flow, which will mean a chance for some morning showers along the coast. A high heat advisory in effect for much of the desert southwest, and severe storms possible into mainly Colorado. The foreboders for tomorrow will start off with an east wind at 10 knots, up to 5 knots, so actually down to 5 knots in the afternoon, turning to the west. Seas running less than 2 feet really out there. So the extended forecast looks like this. A slight chance for late day showers tomorrow again. Most of the day will be dry. 40% chance for scattered showers at any time on Wednesday. Thursday, the main focus inland, away from the coast with that west to southwest wind. High temperatures right around seasonal averages. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
How do you open tough jar lids? Do you try this one? Or this one? Or how about this one?
Honey?
This is the future. Shouldn't there be a robot for this by now? There is. Introducing RoboTwist, the robotic jar opener that easily twists off even the toughest lids. Just set it down, press the button, and watch it work. First, the RoboStrong vise locks down tight. Then the powerful twisting action unscrews the lid. RoboTwist is yours for the special introductory price of just $19.99. That's right, the robotic jar opener that easily twists off even the toughest lids, all for just $19.99. Whether the jar is big or small, RoboTwist can open them all. Supplies are limited, so don't delay. Here's how to get yours today.
Call 1-800-347-1073. That's 1-800-347-1073. Or order online at buyrobotwist.com.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Don't hide it. We know that sometimes emotions just get the better of you, especially at the Honda Summer Spectacular event. And we know getting a deal on the Honda Civic, a 2018 KBB.com Best Buy, can be quite liberating, especially when this stylish Honda Civic comes with Sport Mode.
Yes! Yes!
Express what you're feeling at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
I'm happy you're happy.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Civic today.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
Checking primetime headlines now to a major reversal by President Trump, who crafted his son Don Jr.'s first statement about that infamous Trump Tower meeting with the Russians, that there was a meeting about Russian adoptions, but now saying that the purpose was to get information on Hillary Clinton. ABC's Janae Norman has the details from Washington.
President Trump is reversing course regarding the Russian meeting in Trump Tower, fuming over the weekend.
The Russian witch hunt. A Democrat-inspired witch hunt.
His anger fueled by a Washington Post report that says he's increasingly worried about how the Russia probe could hurt what he calls innocent and decent people. At the top of the list, his son Don Jr. for his role in that Trump Tower meeting with Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, and Russians. President Trump tweeting, "Fake news reporting a complete fabrication that I'm concerned about the meeting my wonderful son Donald had in Trump Tower." Don Jr., in a statement that the president helped craft, initially said the meeting was about Russian adoptions, and later telling Fox News,
"Did you tell your father anything about this?"
No. It was such a nothing. There was nothing to tell.
But the president now changing course about the purpose of the meeting with the Russians, saying it was to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. Writing, "This was a meeting to get information on an opponent, totally legal and done all the time in politics, and it went nowhere. I did not know about it." And as for President Trump's knowledge, sources tell ABC News his former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, says the president did know about the meeting before it happened. His current attorney saying there's nothing illegal about it.
Well, the question is, how would it be illegal? I mean, the real question here is, would a meeting of that nature constitute a violation?
And the president's attorney says they are prepared to battle if Robert Mueller subpoenas President Trump, saying that they will take the fight all the way to the Supreme Court. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
European leaders say they deeply regret the renewal of U.S. sanctions on Iran. The U.S. is poised to reimpose the first round of them today. The Obama administration and key allies offered Iran a reduction in sanctions in return for Iran's agreement to curtail its nuclear program. But President Trump has been a vocal critic of that plan. The European Commission, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom all criticizing the Trump administration's plans today. Could President Trump and North Korea leader Kim Jong-un sit down for a second summit? A source familiar with Pyongyang's position on denuclearization says a second meeting could take place sometime later this year, with a date and location to be determined. The news comes amid concern that both sides of whether the summit June summit in Singapore will deliver on demands. North Korean leaders cite the lack of Korean war treaty and economic sanctions, while U.S. officials say North Korea needs to follow through on plans for denuclearization. Today marks the 73rd anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima. On August 6, 1945, U.S. planes dropped an atomic bomb called Little Boy on the Japanese city. It was the first atomic bomb used in warfare. Up to 140,000 people died. 3 days later, a second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, killing up to 80,000 people. On August 14th, Japan unconditionally agreed to end World War II. And SeaWorld may be finally out of cold water. The theme park reported a 5% increase in visitors, marking the second consecutive quarter. Attendance rose. Both attendance and sales topped industry forecasts, and shares are at a 4-year high. SeaWorld has been mired in controversy since the release of Blackfish, a documentary that attributed an orca's violent behavior to conditions at the park. The company is often a target of animal rights group PETA, which accuses the theme park of abuse and scrutinizes its treatment of animals. From George Costanza to Colonel Sanders, KFC announcing Jason Alexander, best known for playing George Costanza on Seinfeld, will be its newest Colonel Sanders. The fried chicken chain started casting a series of celebrities in that role in 2015. They included Darrell Hammond, Ray Liotta, Reba McEntire as the first female to portray Colonel Sanders. The Alexander ad campaign will promote the chain's $20 fill-ups, which are buckets of chicken meant to feed groups. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Coe. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.